this week is, and I think it's actually going to happen. When is it going to happen? Like next week or something, we go to MFA for everybody. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Just sit back and watch the fallout. No, help your friends, help your people, because you guys are techies. You shouldn't have any trouble with MFA. MFA is
Multi-factor.
Multi-factor authentication.
yes, multi-factor authentication. That is the gold standard in current security is have multi-factor. Multi-factor means is having two different passwords multi-factor?
No.
It has to be two different methods.
Methods.
Right, correct. It has to be two different methods. And when we're done next week, like right now on campus, I just need my username and password because we're physically secured to the campus. But when I'm at home, I have to have my app that's on my phone and I have to have my username and password. So that's the two factors, which that is pretty much the norm almost anywhere now is two-factor authentication. So there's different types of authentication. Somewhere you are. Well, geolocation. Maybe your cell phone can't access the company network if you're in Siberia, maybe.
Yeah.
So you can geolocate and say, oh, this person shouldn't be there. Or you might be logging in from two different places at the same time. Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
So somewhere you are might be you can only access the college systems if you're physically, the cell tower is pinging and you're physically on campus, maybe. That would be a restricted location. And military bases and things like that would have that all over the place. Something you are. What do you have that's unique? Fingerprints, retinal scans, your voice, how you write.
Yeah, the veins.
Say that again.
The veins, the one on the palms.
Yep. What can you have that nobody else has? My cell phone. Nobody has my cell phone and my number. Is that the same as an RFID card? Not quite. An RFID card means, well, usually that's a token. You have a little token generator thing. You're the only one that has it. Someone you know. Well, I know Mike. Mike knows this other person. So do I trust this other person because of Mike? That's kind of how RSA works. That's how security things work, is you have to trust somebody. So both the other person and I trust Mike, so he's our go-between. What is that? Security. Oh, authentic. Oh boy. Authentication. No, what is it called? People that say that, yeah, like verified by Amazon. So we're verified by Mike because they're the upper level. Isn't that certificate
authority.
Certificate authority. There it was. That's what I was after. So Mike is our certificate authority because no matter what you do, you have to trust somebody at some point. You know, you can't just build trust out of nowhere. So Lee knows Peyton. Well, flaming red hair. Yeah, well, what if they dye it? I don't know about flaming red hair is such a good thing. Handwriting can be used. How you type on the keyboard. Everybody has a different rhythm on the keyboard. What do you know? Well, passwords. We already know about those. So passwords are the most ubiquitous things, meaning they're the most common. I just like the word ubiquitous. They're constantly under attack. We've been through hashing and how you can hack things. And by the time we're done with this and ethical hacking, you will turn off all your electronic devices and never connect to a network again. Many policies mandate that passwords expire. So policies say what we do. This passwords must expire would be a procedure that's a technical control. You're just not going to rely on people to change their passwords. You're going to have a thing that comes up, your password expires in 7 days, 6 days, 5 days, 4 days, and then you're done. Just like this one would be a policy, but the procedure would be that on the server we say you cannot have a password you used before, but it would be a procedural one or a management one if we say that it's a good idea or we want everybody to have a different password for each account. Is there a technical control that can do that? No. Not unless I have a password bin that everybody dumps their passwords in. And what we've discovered is that long passwords are most effective, not complex. That's the latest guidance from NIST and all the other people. So something you know, we've dealt with this before. What is this all about?
Complex password.
The password that was scrambled to the in the server, something like
So
that.
I was thinking this is more like that's his password, and then this is the
Yes.
Yeah.
Hash.
So it's a great password? No, it's not very good. This would be the scrambled hash of it.
Mhm.
Exactly right. Oh, because this is all the hashes. Well, the password doesn't get compared, but the hashes can get compared. And when we see Braden, oh, these hashes match. So that's a good little diagram of showing that. If one of these was different, which it would be if any one of these was different, this would not match. So your password's never sent. Is your password sent to the server? Actually, no, it isn't. It's already scrambled on your end. The scramble gets sent. That's not quite exactly, well, the first time around, I don't know. That's a good question. It's probably encrypted, but maybe the password is sent so it can scramble it on each end. I don't know. I'd have to research that one. Oops, I went too far. There we go. So we'll just say that retrieving a password is the same thing. The password actually doesn't get sent. The scramble gets sent, and the scramble is compared. What's a brute force attack? Well, every possible of letters, numbers is combined to determine the user's password. What can prevent that? Does anybody know what can prevent? I think we set that setting in server class, which doesn't help
Yeah.
here.
We can, against brute force, we can set a timer before each try and limit the tries of failed password and then block it for a long period after limit of tries.
And that would be a technical control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And brute force will be impossible or zillion years, for example.
And probably, and I think we do, you'd have, yeah, it's part of our Microsoft stuff. We would be alerted that if somebody was trying again and again and again. Lauren was telling me the other day that with their Microsoft stuff in the Azure cloud, it'll alert them saying, you know, there's something up with this password going on here. It's suspicious. And then they'll take a look at it. And password spraying I'd never heard of before, but then you take common passwords and then you try to log into several user accounts. Well, if you can load the password digest into your computer, you have until the end of the universe to crack it. And we did a little bit. Did we do that where we actually took these and compared them? I thought we did. Yeah. So if I have my password there, so I'm never going to be able to figure out from here with MD, 256, 384, these are the two common ones right now. I can never reverse this, but yes, we did. What did we do it with? We were doing hashy. Oh no, hash something in Kali Linux. What were we doing?
We tried to break hashes. We used hashcat.
That's it, hashcat. And so we were taking in text like this, generating a hash. You know, we knew, and then if that didn't work, well, then we do another one. When we find one that matches the hash of the hash that we captured, we know that the password is KKKK or whatever it is. But we're comparing these guys against known passwords that people have used. And we're calculating that hash as we go. So as long as we have a hash of this, the hard part is capturing that hash. That's difficult. All right, so here it is. Yep, just what we talked about. Yep. There's a guy. Now we don't need to get that deep into there. Something you have, tokens and security. What's the most common token that we have anymore?
One-time password.
Our phones. Everybody has gone way away from the hardware tokens because most people have a cell phone. So you can think of the authentication app as like a little software token.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to get to experience that next week. You do have 14 days if you're at home. If you do your multi-factor, there'll be a little check mark that says, oh, I don't have to do this again for 14 days when you're off campus, which is a reasonable accommodation. And probably everybody has used password authentication apps before. If you haven't, you will be. It is becoming the common thing everybody has. Let's see. Now, this would be if you don't have a phone, you might have a little secure key like this, which we have some downstairs, because not everybody has a phone. Not everybody will have a smartphone. This is a little USB guy. You plug it in the computer. I think the ones we have read your fingerprint, and then that allows you to log in with that. I can't remember what they called it, a YubiKey or something. I don't know if that's it. I don't know. Anyway, we have some of those for people that do not have a smartphone or do not wish to use their smartphone, which is a bit silly, or they have a flip phone. And lots of our students don't have any money, so it's entirely possible they may not have a smartphone. We do not have rich students that I'm aware of. Biometric scanners. Oh yeah, I would be nervous about that.
It's actually scanners of
It's IR.
fingerprints and, yeah.
Oh, there's the one that Hope was talking about. You can scan people's veins,
Yeah.
how they walk. My laptop has a fingerprint sensor on it. Something you are, well, voice recognition. Yes, we're familiar with a lot of these things. However, biometrics have the problem of
Sometimes it cannot recognize, yeah.
sometimes it'll say it recognizes, sometimes it won't recognize. If I don't have my finger on just right, or it's a little bit moist or too dry, it's what I find most often. If it's too dry, it won't recognize it. So there are, they are not 100%, but they're good as a two-factor. Oh, then there's the picture one. Oh, everybody loves these. I've never done one, but these remind me, the picture where you pick places to serve as landmarks to touch. My favorite thing that those recognize of is like when it says, are you a robot? Pick all the squares that have a bicycle in it.
Oh.
And then you get stuck in this like forever. You can never get past it because, well, you missed something. Let's try clowns next,
I like the new version of reCAPTCHA or something like that, where it's just a block with a checkbox, and it's just trying to figure out how your mouse cursor works.
Interesting.
If it works just straight or robotic, it just recognizes. You just need to click inside and okay, you are a human. It just can recognize by moving of your mouse.
So this is the company I can think of. Spigot does like stuff for Minecraft.
Yeah.
You saw that little thing that came by right as I was going in.
Yeah.
It was doing I know I see that quite often, but in this case, it didn't even ask me to
You don't
type
even
anything
need to
in.
click something. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll spin and then you have to click something.
Yeah.
But that must be what they're using, I can't remember what that company is that does a lot of that stuff. Oh, I can't remember now. It went by so fast, I forgot what it was. It's not CrowdStrike. All right. So how do you secure passwords? Ooh, we didn't get to this, did we? So if you have a hash calculator and let's see, this is mine. I wrote this one. Pretty fancy, huh? So if I type in my password, it is always going to be this hash, always. So how do you get around that? Called salting. They put in random characters that the server knows about, but doesn't like display that these are random characters. Because there's a random string in the password before it's hashed. So actually it might be password 01, but what's being hashed is 02. But the computer knows about it, but you can't tell from the hash file.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. So that's called salting. And I think the other way is, yeah, it's peppering is where you have a message digest and it's also encrypted with something else. So they're trying to find a way to make sure that it isn't always the same thing if someone can capture the hash, which is a big if. Because you have to be on the same network with a packet sniffer in order to do that. And if it's already encrypted, well, how do you get past that encryption? You have to have somebody, you have to be able to downplay their encryption, which is a whole nother thing. All right, well, another one is key stretching. What does that mean? Intentionally designed to be slower. Okay, that's not one I'm really quite understand. It's a good one to look up. So what is the current best way to secure passwords? Password manager. Trying to remember what IT uses. They use one. But password managers are a good way to do it because you can have one master really ugly, one master password that's not too bad. I mean, a good password, but then all your other passwords can be just these ugly, rambunctious things that no one could ever unbreak. And then you just use your password manager to fill it in. And many password managers are web-based. So is that the perfect solution? No, but it is a solution. Yeah, so there's one password, Bitwarden. I was hoping I'd see the one that they use down in IT. I can't remember which one. LastPass, I think that's the one they're using.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has an app, or you can do it, as part of your browser or whatever. But then you would have different passwords for each account. Is that better than having the same password with slight variations for all your accounts? Yeah, I think so. Unless they break into, LastPass, in which case then you're in trouble anyway. Yeah, there's always somebody doing bad things. Always. Yep, this is server. So default passwords should always be changed. Every device, always. You never put anything into a production network and ever not change the defaults, and not just default passwords, default IP addresses, default everything. Because everything that's a default password for any device is readily available on the regular internet. So if we do default router passwords, there. It'll be like everyone ever made. Oh, this is a very short list. Oh, maybe that'll be better. All default passwords. Let's see. There's somewhere I've found where it's like everything ever known to man. Yeah, here we are. Everything known to man. Which this is handy in case you have to default the device, which I thought I was going to have to do with my Ruckus earlier. So I have a Ruckus access point. What is the default packet? Oh, there it is. Matter of fact, what's the default password? Oh, that's not actually what it was. Oh, this is a Ruckus router. My wireless access point, this is not actually the default username and password. So I'm sure it's somewhere. But every password for every device you can think of is somewhere out there. And there's a gazillion pages with all these things. It goes on and on and on and on and on. All right. So always default passwords. Never use passwords. Never have it. That's not quite right. No password expiration should not be utilized. That's what they're referring to. That the password doesn't expire. You never want to set that. That's really what they're saying. Password age should be set to at least 1 day. Why should we do that? Well, if I said that 24 passwords history can't be reused, and I say you can't change your password sooner than 1 day, it's going to take you 24 days to get back to your original password. Is that going to discourage you from trying to go back to your regular password? If you didn't have password reuse prohibited and they could change it right away, guess what's going to happen? Huskers 1, 2, 3, all year, every year. People are fundamentally, the word is not lazy, but we are energy conservers because, back in the day on the plains and the Serengeti when we were hunting antelope and all that, we had to conserve our energy. So we try to optimize everything to conservation of energy. That's just human nature. We can't help it. Deprovisioning, provisioning, setting up user accounts. You never want to know somebody's password. You always do a throwaway or a setup password that they have to change the next time they log in. So it's their password. When you deprovision, you should suspend their account as soon as they leave. Because you never know. They may come back. No, you just always turn it off. There should be a provisioning procedure process. There should be a deprovisioning process that happens every time, which this would be something that you would want to coordinate with HR because they would have their own processes and maybe they all get lumped together. What else do we have? Single sign-on. Do we have single sign-on at WNCC? More or less. There's times when you have to type it in twice. There's some times that you don't, which is hard to get a total single sign-on. So we use the Microsoft Federation something or another. I can't remember what else we use right now because is it SAML that we still use? There's different scripting or authentication protocols that allow you to go from one website to the next. So when I've logged into ClassLink, I can go to I can't go there, but I can go to the OneDrive and say I did all that auth this and auth all those things. I did not have to type in my username and password again. I could go from here to there and it carried, so to speak, my credentials with me. Mm-hmm. So that would be single sign-on. Some of these are, some of them aren't. It just depends on the system if it has that feature in it, if you can tie into it or not. It just depends. Let's see if ScreenPal does. Oh, look at there. Yep, so we have a Microsoft Online thing that connects us up to ScreenPal. Yeah, and that connected up to me, to my little ScreenPal account that's with the college. I only have up here videos that are just short videos for people that have questions. Ooh, I don't even remember that one. Otherwise, I put most of mine in OneDrive. All right. What else do we need to know about this? Everything. I can't remember if we use SAML now or we changed from SAML. I can't remember. All right. So I think that's what we use. Anyway, it's a method or a protocol of going from one place to the next and exchanging authorization data. Oh, there's a SAML transaction. Ooh. Everybody's excited. So I clicked on the thing to go to OneDrive, right? I'm on Microsoft. They generate a SAML request. The redirect URL set, it says go somewhere else. The identity provider decodes that SAML request, which is, I think, usually encoded in the URL. Then it's verified and we're logged in. Whoops, here we go. Response is created and signed, and it's all encrypted. And then eventually we're logged in. That's why you see all those little things flashing around, because all this is being passed back and forth. Shibboleth, that's what we used to use, but now we use SAML. I don't remember why. And this is used quite often for some APIs will require OAuth 2.0. Very few APIs will. Most of the time it's just a key of some sort, but not always. Passkey. So that would be like our little key. Like if you don't have a phone, they'll give you a key where you push your finger in it, I think. All right, access control, discretionary access control. Oh, yeah. So discretionary access control is what you have at home. Everybody has total control over everything. This is not what we use in real life. Discretionary access control. No. Mandatory access control is, okay, that's not it. This is more military. Here it is. This is what we use, role-based access control. So you assign permissions to particular roles and then assign users to those roles. And we just went through that we've been working on that in Windows Server. How you assign permissions to roles and then you assign users to those roles. That's the primary paradigm that I've ever used with almost everything. Yep, there's this guy right here. Total control. I think rule-based is more like with the using the military and government where they have secret and super secret and that kind of thing. I think it's one of these two where they label the resources. An access control list. Do you have an access control list on your computer?
Yes.
They're everywhere. So if I go to the properties of anything, it has an access control list. Who can do what to whatever resource I'm looking at. If I right click on my hashy folder and go to properties, there is my access control list. Everybody can get to this. Well, that's not true because my USB drive is BitLockered. So you have to know my BitLocker password to get into my USB drive. If I go here, I'm going to have a different set of access controls. Ooh, system. System is operating system. Administrators is the local administrators group that is part of my local computer. This is who I am currently logged in as. I am logged in as William Loring from the dpod.net domain. And I'm also a member of the local administrators group, so I can make changes to software and hardware on this machine. So very seldom do you have individual users? Well, this individual user is not on this system. It's like a dynamic user that's created when I log in, but it's stored in the back of the room in the closet. So normally we administrate everything by groups. If you have 5,000 people to administrate, you don't want to do it by users. You want to do it by groups. That is the Microsoft Linux paradigm. You do everything by groups. And we don't care about that. Okay, that's enough. All right, now we know all sorts of different authentication things. Everybody's looking forward next week to having multi-factor authentication, which brings us into the 20th century, which is good. That is a no-brainer. We have to do it because the bad guys are getting smarter all the time. Questions, preguntas? Okay. Then I will hang up for today.